topic is maximizing your talent, soft skills, and hard results. And a number of people have asked me about the topic. Now, what is the topic? What are you going to cover? So I thought we'd start there today. What are we really wanting to do with our talents? Succeed and make a difference. Yes? Improve the results. All right? Make the world a better place, you know? The premise is, if we believe life is important, then we would want to maximize our talent. So maximizing our talent is important for that reason. These are, things that we can never remember learning, but we're always good at. So that's the topic that we'll talk about today, and we'll talk about how we maximize that and really what gets in the way of that. Because what happens when I stop learning? You get bored, and what happens when I get bored? Right? My personal belief, there's 3 stages in life: growth, maintenance, and decline. So I'm either growing and learning, or I'm maintaining. But if I'm maintaining, I'm unconsciously competent at a task. Well, when I'm unconscious means I'm not paying attention. It's automatic. It's a habit. What happens ultimately if I'm unconscious long enough? My skills degrade and I don't end up with the same results that I've had in the past. Emotion affects all of us, regardless of our proclivity to being analytic or expressive or feeling or thinking. Emotions affect all of us. Physiologically, this has been proven true. It's impossible to not feel emotion. In fact, when we, get an impulse to our brain, it comes into the thalamus. Now, the emotion associated with that impulse goes to our amygdala. Right? What's the amygdala known for? It's fight or flight response. That's the fundamental, the oldest part of our brain, and it tells us whether or not this is a good situation, whether we should stand and fight or run. It takes 12 milliseconds for an impulse to get from our thalamus to the amygdala. Now, the thinking part of our brain is the prefrontal cortex. That's where we analyze things. It takes 40 milliseconds to get from the thalamus to the prefrontal cortex. So we're already feeling something about a situation 2.5 times sooner than we've had a chance to analyze it. So as removed from emotion as I might like to think I am, if that's my style, it's impossible. What's the power of writing it down? Accountability, consensus, yes, John? Commitment, right? When I write it down, it's like writing a check. I'm having to pay the piper when I write it down. What else is important about writing things down? Affirmation, focus. How many of you have written down goals and objectives before? Now, what's difficult about writing down your goals and objectives? Fear of failure, right? The fear of failure. And sometimes the fear of success, which is the opposite side of that. Right? Is what if I actually achieve them? Because what does it mean if I achieve my goals? That I'm capable of greater things. And so we most often are familiar with the fear of failure, but we're not as familiar with the fear of success. And that's the impact, that's the stigma that many of us have on writing down goals or objectives. My behavior, I judge by what? What actually happens or what I intended to happen? What I intended to happen. Right? So I judge my behavior, but what I intended to happen. What do other people judge me by? What actually happened, which is my reality. My reality is made up of my thoughts, my feelings, and my actions. That's my personal reality. Now, I can only think one thing at a time. I can only have one thought in my mind at a time. I can be feeling multiple things at any one time. So I can be feeling excited and nervous. I can be feeling happy and sad. We've all had experiences like that where you're feeling that this mix of emotions. My performance is optimized by aligning who I am really with who I am ideally. Frame 1 are my principles, values, and beliefs. The 4 universal principles are compassion, so actively helping other people, integrity, responsibility, so taking responsibility for my decisions and my actions, and forgiveness. So whether you believe in God or not, live in the United States or live in South America, male or female, black or white, it doesn't matter. Those 4 universal principles are common to this planet that we live on as far as human beings are concerned. Those govern how we think about things. Our principles, values, and beliefs make up our moral compass. Behaving in alignment with those is more or less like our true north. Who I am ideally is frame 3, which is my thoughts, emotions, and actions. This is how other people know me. I did this with an executive last week. It took him about 5 minutes, and he sat up in his chair. I was looking over his shoulder at his computer screen. He sat up in his chair. He identified his 5 values, and he said, "That's me. That is me." And I said, "Well, was this helpful for you to know?" And he says, "Absolutely." He said, "Because when I get into situations where I have a disagreement with somebody, and somebody violates one of my values, it's toxic." He said, "But now I know what they are." And so I said, "Well, would it be important for other people to know that these are your 5 values? Would other people benefit from knowing this about you?" So understand that strong emotions, while they could be our strengths, can it sometimes be our weaknesses. And what I know about moral and emotional competence is that unlike my IQ or my technical competence, my IQ cannot be improved. My moral intelligence, my moral competence, my emotional competence can be improved. Now, frame 2 is what? That's the gap, right? Maximizing my talent has a greater level of importance because I want to be good in all areas of my life. I don't want to just be a good partner at Leonard Gaberman. I want to be a great father, a great husband, a great friend, a great brother, a great, son. We all have those things. So maximizing my talent involves all areas of my life. So frame 2 is about closing the gap between who I am really and who I hope to be ideally. And I want to know exactly what I've got to do so that my behavior each day lines up with that goal. And I'm able to close that gap. Are you with me? So what I want for myself is to be more like who I intend to be more often. What I want for myself is a rightfully selfish process, given that it's in alignment with my principles, values, and beliefs. So in order to identify that, I have to have a goal. And a goal has to be, who remembers the SMART acronym? Specific, measurable. I can know categorically that I want to be a great performer and I want to be a great dad, but it's difficult to nail that down because there's a difference between a dream and a goal. What's the difference? Action. Am I willing to do what it takes? Because if the answer is no, then what I have is a what? It's a dream. So in order to answer the question, I have to know not only the goal, but I got to know what it's going to take to hit the goal. That's the plan. So it's have a goal, have a plan. Successful people focus on what's in their control. So these have got to be things that I must do. First person, non-optional, action-oriented. Now, once I implement the plan, once I take action, what do I know about the plan? Some things will work, and some things won't. But what I don't know until I take action is what? Which ones won't work? Right? Step 5 is throwing off discouragement. Now, what do I know when I start down a goal? The fun part of working on a goal is when? At the beginning and at the end. When I'm just getting started and when I know I'm going to be there. The tough part's in the middle. Because what happens in the middle? Distractions. Setbacks. Stuff comes up I didn't plan on. It's not as fun as I thought it was going to be. So I need other people to help me throw off discouragement. In order for them to throw off discouragement, what do they have to know? They got to know my goals. They got to know what else about me. What my values are, where I'm headed, what my principles and beliefs are. Because if we knew that about each other, what would happen if we were working together? Yeah, it's called synergy, right? We'd be helping each other. We'd have an agreement that, this is what we're working to. Is that powerful? Would that be helpful? Sure, but where does this start? What do I have to know first? Who do I have to know best in this whole situation? Me. Effective leadership of others. Whether it be our family, our friends, our organization, our club, it doesn't matter, other people that we associate with. Effective leadership of others begins with effective self-management. And effective self-management is grounded in self-awareness and ends with living in alignment. Every day we deal with human behavior, and it affects every aspect of our business. And whose behavior do we want to understand most? Our own.